What we have to do is redo that mentality. As Romans 12:2 says, I have to not be conformed to the world's thinking, but I got to be transformed and get God's thinking. Welcome to Think Like a Billionaire podcast, where we're changing the way that we think. As a man thinks, the Bible says, so is he. There's a difference between how the average person thinks and how a wealthy-minded person thinks. And our thinking takes us to a destination. And as we had been talking about last week, we're kind of going through the different ways in which wealthy people think differently than the average person. You know, the average person thinks that money is to get stuff. So they have a list of their stuff that they want to get. But a wealthy-minded person, their money is a seed meant to produce. Right? I can grab all the oranges right here and just eat them all, or I can take those seeds and I can plant an orchard. And what happens is, as I begin to plant and I take that finances, that money, and I invest it, then I do get to the place where now I can have more. We live in a world, a culture, if you can call it, right, where the mindset has been changed that when I get it, I spend it. And I spend it even before I even have it. So I'm going to go finance this. I'm going to go finance a car. I'm going to get a bigger screen TV on a credit card. And I'm spending tomorrow's seed on today's wants, not needs. And what a wealthy-minded person, somebody who's headed towards wealth, they take today, and I have my things that I have to pay for, I get that. But then I want to take a portion of my money, and I want to make sure that I'm investing it, that I'm doing things to make it grow in this world. And so it's a different mentality on jobs. You know, we think that if I could get a better job, so we'll do things to try and get a better job. I'm not saying not to excel, but what I am saying is a job will never make you rich. It is going to be having a business, having investments, having money work for you. As you're sitting here listening right now, as I'm talking right now, my businesses that I have are producing money. Whether I go into work today or tomorrow or this week at all, my businesses continue to produce because I put the work up front. So a farmer, he has to get the land going, right? He plants the seed, he waters it. And now he allows the earth to do what it does. It produces. And the same system works in business, that we put in the time up front and we get everything working and cultivating, right? We take the idea that God has given to us. And what we do then is we then get that going and then it continues to produce for us 30, 60, and 100-fold. Having a different idea about that. Begin to think on a higher level. I think that society and the way that we were brought up in our culture is a worker bee mentality. And my father talks a lot about how the wealthy people of the Vanderbilts and them got together in the 1900s, and they began to get into the school system to get a worker bee mentality into the kids growing up. That we just get a job, work our job, retire our job, live on. It's just enough mentality, right? What we have to do is redo that mentality. As Romans 12:2 says, I have to not be conformed to the world's thinking, but I got to be transformed and get God's thinking. God's an abundant God. God is a too much God. God, the Word says that His thoughts are higher than my thoughts. So I have to reprogram my mind so that I begin to think bigger. I begin to dream bigger. Dream like you were when you were a kid. When I grow up, I'm going to be, nobody says I'm going to be a barista at a coffee mall, right? When I grow up, I'm going to do big things. And to do big things, we have to have big thoughts. And so what we want to do is we want to think differently. I'm going to talk some more on our online community, which is down on the bottom. We're going to talk about risks. That's the key thing. Many people live in a world where they're scared to take a risk because they might fail. But if you don't take a risk, you've already failed. Wealthy-minded people think differently about risks than you and I do. Well, maybe you. I think differently, but the way I used to think, I was always kind of reserved and I just had, and when you're reserved, what happens is you don't take out a risk, and without a risk, there is no reward. We got to learn to play life like we play Monopoly. When we play Monopoly, no one goes, I'm just going to collect my $200 and I see if I can win. You'll never win. The way you play Monopoly is I got to buy up, I got to make investments, I got to take the money that I have and I have to buy some land, put some houses on it. And I may lose that game, but I don't stop playing. I'll play another game, And under that of taking a risk, I find myself winning the game. The same thing for life. When you take risks, you end up winning. We're going to talk some more. You can see down in the comments where you can find more of this information. Anyway, thank you so much for allowing me to speak into your life today. Remember, we're changing the way we think, which is then changing the way that we live and taking the limits and the shackles off of our lives, the limiters that hold us back from God's best. Be blessed.